Welcome back to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Moose Lundstrom.
And I'm Adam Vokey.
And today we're on location again, my man.
We are.
We are just boogieing around this county.
We are, and we landed in a really cool spot this time.
Yeah, Brush Arts Center here in Brush, Colorado, man. It's the old GT Farmers that's been remodeled and redone and made into an art studio. And today our guest is Robert Gifford. What's up, Rob?
Hey, not much.
The owner and King Poop Poop, as I said earlier.
That's right.
That was 5 takes ago.
Yeah. Welcome, you guys. I'm glad to have you.
Yeah, this is awesome. We appreciate you guys doing it here. And we're going to have a little, I'm going to have some video going the whole time of what looks like in here to come check it out. Because if you haven't been down here, you should come down and check out all the stuff they've done. We were talking about the remodel earlier, right, and you were talking about the stuff you had done to the place.
Yeah, we were just talking about this mountainscape that I put on the walls here. I don't know if they can see it, but I thought it was going to be easy because there was a lot of water damage to the plaster, but not so. I literally had to chisel it off 2 inches at a time. It took me the entire month of August
Is that how
just
long
to get that off. Yeah.
When did you buy this?
It was in July.
July.
We closed in July. Yeah.
That's good. So you're coming up on a year already.
Getting close.
That's awesome.
Getting close.
That's awesome.
We had a soft opening on Halloween,
Right,
which was not much, but.
And you got all kinds of plans. But you know what? We're going to get on into that a little later.
Okay.
We do it at the end. I don't want to step on one of your stories by accident. So
all right.
We're going to get into that later. But before we start, I'm going to tell you, if you're new to the Bullhucker podcast, welcome. What we do here is we bring on a guest, Mr. Rob Gifford today. And what he's going to do is he's going to tell 3 stories about his life. Now, the kicker is only the 2 stories are true. One story is the Bullhucker. It's either a lie, a fib, or partially made up. Now, Rob, without going into a lot of detail to give it away, is the story that's not true, is it a borrowed story, or is it partially made up, or all the way made up?
It's one of my stories. It's actually true with a piece that's not.
Okay, so it's partially made up. So those are a little tough.
It's been tweaked.
It's been tweaked.
It's been tweaked.
It's got a little fib at the end, but that's what we do. That's how we get down. That's how we roll. So if you want to check out all our podcasts, if you like this, make sure you hit that there's a little red button on the right bottom hand side. That's a subscribe button. Please hit that. It subscribes to YouTube. It's a little click for you, but a
big click for us.
Boom, boom. Dencia sometimes does this podcast, and I have to let her say it all, or she scolds me. So, what's up, Dence? But it is a huge click for us, you know. And no matter what you're listening to, whether it be iTunes, whatever, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, whatever platform you get your podcasts on, please subscribe, follow the podcast. Send them some love. We really do appreciate it, you know. Do you listen to podcasts, Rob?
Well, I do. And I've been listening to you guys.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of extra time, but I'm filling it up.
You're a busy man. What do you listen to them on?
I actually, right now, on the, what do you call it? iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's awesome, man. We really appreciate it.
Because that's where my psychedelic relics is on.
Is that what we were listening to earlier?
Yeah.
You have great taste in music, my man.
I love that.
I like the old school, all the old classic rock,
right,
man. It makes me happy. So
yeah, me too.
But that's it's you know, it's sad now. Classic rock is now the stuff I thought was like
from the 90s.
Yes. No, you're laughing. Nirvana is on classic rock now.
I know,
It's
crazy.
But when Nirvana released their big album, Smells Like Teen Spirit, that was 30 years ago, 91.
It's sad when you realize you're old.
It's sad. I mean, it beats the alternative, Rob.
And that's all of us.
But anyway, I appreciate you guys coming, and please make sure you subscribe to the podcast. And also come down here. We're going to talk a lot about this shop and this studio, so make sure you come down here and support this, man. At least come check it out. And before we get done at the end, we're going to go ahead and talk about all the stuff you offer and what's coming up and all that good stuff.
Appreciate it.
We got 3 stories, Adam. You want to read them off?
Yeah, we got spooked, pork rinds, and $1 million toilet paper.
Okay, so, well, man, I mean, you know what? Welcome back. Why don't you pick one up?
Oh, I'm going to go with pork rinds.
Pork rinds. All right, we're going to go with pork rinds. So I thought I was doing these in order, so I'll have to think about this just a second. I went into the military right at the tail end of Vietnam. I put they called it pre-enlistment because I didn't want to get drafted into the Marines or somebody that was going to die right away.
Right.
So I did a pre-enlistment with the Air Force as a medic. And then I tried to back out of it later because the draft stopped before I ever got there.
Right.
But it was a little too late because you sign the thing and so off you go. Anyway, so I was a medic in the Air Force, and they taught us to do the paramedic thing, and which is in the Air Force, nothing like it is in some of the other situations, much less hands-on. But And most of my tours were done in hospitals or emergency rooms.
Okay.
So that's where I spent most of my time. And this particular time that we're talking about, I was working the emergency room down at Peterson Field, which is in Colorado Springs. And they have a flight line down there. And they train all the cadets from the Air Force Academy there. So they they bring in the jets, they bring in the helicopters, they bring in all this stuff. And because it was the end of NOM, they were teaching people still to fly the helicopters, the little, I can't remember what they are, the little Hueys, though.
Okay.
2 people situations for training. And they call it contour flying. When you're in the jungle, so you didn't get fired on too much, they have you come right across the top of the trees and come down, and so you try to contour the topography, whatever it is.
Okay.
And it's very dangerous because when you put those rotors in those quick angles like that, they can throw them into a shimmy. And if you get it into a shimmy and it starts to vibrate, you're toast. The helicopter blows up. So anyway, so they're bringing these. We're down on the flight line in Peterson Field, and they have cadets, and they're bringing them in. And we had 3 or 4 successful cadets come through and do the procedures and then back off and go land and get another one. And we're on the flight line in our ambulance in case something goes wrong. So anyway, so here comes the last one. He comes up, he screws up, he hits his stick. I don't know what he did because I wasn't in the cockpit, but hit his stick somehow, sends the thing into a shimmy. So the instructor literally says, bail out, and he shoves the cadet out, and then he jumps out the other side backwards, both of them, neither with, they had flight gear, but they were only like 60 feet off the ground. They weren't very far up.
Right.
And so as the instructor does his backflip out of there, the helicopter blew up, literally.
Whoa.
And the pilot, the trainee, came down literally in a ball of flames. He was just covered with fuel. So he came down like a torch. And the instructors went down and did a backflip, and he actually dislocated his hips and broke a leg, but he was fine. The cadet was not so much. He died 3 days later.
Sure.
Yeah. But at any rate, when we went to pick up that cadet, because the fuel had been so hot, his eyebrows had melted, his flight suit had melted, and when we went to pick him up, his skin came off like pork rinds. Oh. It was disgusting. And my wife told me, I was supposed to say this, but my wife told me, don't tell those stories. But that is the truth.
And he's the one that passed away.
Yeah, he passed away.
You know what? This is a horrible thing to say, but that probably is for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was in shock, so he was out of it. He didn't.
Right.
He wasn't feeling any pain, but
Right.
And we got him, as comfortable as we could, but.
Right.
Yeah,
Burns are
was brutal.
horrible.
There was when I worked at the dryer plant here, they had a safety video. Maybe you guys had the same thing about a plant back in it's Michigan somewhere. Mm-hmm. It was a fuel plant where they made fuel, and it was a guy who had burns all over his body. Like, was it first degree is the worst, or does it get higher?
No, third degree would be the worst.
Okay.
Higher,
It was whatever. It was like third degree burns all over his body, and he lived. And he goes and he's disfigured, obviously, you know. And he tells you the story about what they do to bring you back. And they literally dip you in salt water at one point in time.
Yep.
To scrub it off.
Yeah, they call it debriding. Yep.
But I'm telling you, when he was saying that, dude, it works. Very effective, by the way, safety people. Because man, everybody was real careful after that, because the way when he says they dipped them and just screaming, and oh man.
Yep. It's rough, and people don't realize this, but when you get burned that bad over that much of your body, the biggest danger is hypothermia, because your skin holds in everything else, so, you have no protection. And so when you get them in the ambulance, there's literally have little ovens in there that have saline that stays warm for those scenarios, and you cover them with sheets and you keep that warm saline on them to keep their temperature until they can get into a fire unit.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. On my episode 50, I saw a guy in Pueblo that blew up in a meth lab who was on fire running.
Oh, I heard that one.
Yeah, and when they tackled him, you could see where the skin had burned off him.
Yep.
And he was an African American, very dark skinned, and just the pink, and
Yep.
I can imagine all over the body. That's got to be.
Oh, it's unbelievable, and the smell of burning flesh you never forget.
I don't. No, my father told me that he was in Vietnam, so it's not something. Wow.
I've never been able to eat a pork rind since either.
I bet.
I'm not going to be able to
I used to love them. Sorry.
Yeah. So, wow, that's a crazy story. I mean, that's the stories I say I like. I do, because that's an experience I never ever been around. You know, so it's interesting to that's kind of. Did anybody like get sick? Did it?
What's that?
Did anybody like get sick? Did anybody? Is that,
Oh, no, unfortunately, we'd all seen plenty
That
was worse than that, so that was not that bad. But,
it's not the first rodeo.
No.
Well, what do you think about that story, man?
Like I said, that's crazy. Well, when you were talking about it, you said something up there 60 feet up. I was like, they're not going to survive the fall.
Yeah, well, that was a miracle of it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
That's a crazy story, man. All right. That was pork rinds. I don't know if the story's more morbid. The title is more morbid, so that's good.
Probably should have listened to my wife.
Right. Well,
You can see him.
Oh, hey Eric, you might want to scoot over. You're in the video, but unless you start picking your nose or something, buddy, we're gonna all see it. So, okay. I'll go back. So pork rinds, that was a great story. I know which one I want to hear. You know how I roll,
Yeah.
so I'm going to pick the other one and say the one I want to hear for last. So I want to hear the $1 million toilet paper.
I honestly thought that was the one you were going to want for last.
Oh, no. What's that? I mean,
Spooked. Yeah, probably a ghost.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys, you're not supposed to figure these out before they get started.
Oh, no. We're going to do a Halloween special. So if you have a Halloween story, please let me know. So, and it's not going to be like this. It's going to be a special, I decided, because dude's got 3 ghost stories, really.
Right.
So we're just going to have certain people come on. Like, I'm going to invite Miss Paxton. I guess she's got some stories. And then Rick Kruglian's got a story. So,
good.
You know, if you have any more after this, definitely have to come back and tell the Halloween special story.
All right.
So, but anyway, $1 million toilet paper.
$1 million toilet paper. Okay, this one I got to lay a little groundwork for. This is probably mid 80s, late 80s when I worked with a man named Brian. I'm not going to say his last name because he's still out there.
Okay.
And he does these financial instruments, you know, like international between countries and different things. They call them arbitrages and different things. I mean, really bizarre, not bizarre, but intricate, I guess would be the better word, financial dealings between countries and between millionaires and billionaires.
Right.
At any rate, I say all that only to say that he knew a lot of people with a lot of money.
Right.
And it was very well connected. The last commission he got before I quit working with him, just for one deal, he made $300,000.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, it's like, I know, it's like, that's all right.
Small side
all right.
hustle.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just that's the kind of numbers we were talking about, and that was one of probably 2 or 3 that month. I mean, he was out there. Anyway, I was kind of his sidekick. But anyway, he met Dr. Mandotti, and Dr. Mandotti was the Mandotti family had been the ruling power in one of the African states for years. I mean, like 300 years.
Wow.
And they had been there, and they had diamond mines. That's where their money came from. And so he was doing all kinds of things investment-wise. And so Brian had dealt with him in many different things, and he came across these 2 guys in Phoenix, Arizona, that had this idea called love travel. Now, you've all seen these RVs, you know, where the go vacations and stuff, where you rent the RV, and well, see that wasn't
It's like a one. You see it says like 1-800-GO-RV.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can rent an RV to travel.
Exactly, and that wasn't a thing. You know, people would rent their own RVs and stuff probably back then, but there wasn't a company doing it. And here, these guys, 2 guys, they were brothers actually in Phoenix, and they got this idea, and they had 12 RVs, different sizes, all different, you know, Winnebagos and little Toyotas and all. There was nothing, not like now where they're all the same and, you know, covered with the same ads and all that. But anyway, so they had those, and they had the idea, you know, and were really doing very, very well. I mean, just their very first year, they like tripled, and they were just, you know, they were on a bankroll. But anyway, so Brian saw that he wanted to buy the idea and buy the company from them. He didn't have the money, so he went to Dr. Mandotti, because they're friends. And Dr. Mandotti gives him this $5 million letter of credit, okay, to buy Love Travel and to open up 5 other cities with the similar scenario.
Wow.
And I was going to be the district manager of the whole thing and get like a 10 or 12% of the whole company.
Nice.
You know, so I'm like, You know, I mean, that's more money than I ever had in my life.
Right.
And so anyway, so I go down it was Stapleton Airport at that point because DIA wasn't there yet. But I get on the airplane, I have my briefcase, I got my $5 million certificate in there, and I'm on top of the world, man. I'm drinking the drinks and having a good time and very excited. And I get down to Sky Harbor, pardon me, which is the airport down in Phoenix. And I get off the plane and turn my pager on because you couldn't leave them on back in those days.
Right.
I turn it on and I get 911, 911, 911 and Brian's number. And so that, call me right now. So I get on the first payphone that I could, because that's what you did back then. Just get on a payphone and I call Brian. And while I was in the air between Stapleton Airport and Sky Harbor in Phoenix, the Mendotti family suffered a coup. They came in, they ousted them. They seized all their assets. They seized their bank accounts.
No.
They seized everything. So literally my $5 million letter of credit was toilet paper. I mean, I might as well wipe my ass with it,
Oh, man.
And talk about sick. I was sick.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was, I went to the bar, had several drinks, rented a car, and drove home. I mean, because I couldn't even afford the flight back. Exactly. I mean, I didn't even have money to go book the flight back. So.
Oh, that sucks.
I know, it was, from high roller to low roller, all in like just a matter of seconds.
Or the buttholer. That's what that is. That's.
Anyway, so that's $1 million toilet paper.
That sucks. That's. I was watching. Do you remember? It was maybe 2 years ago. That poor lady. I say poor lady. Who had put that tweet out about AIDS and being white. Remember that?
I don't.
Flying to South America. There was such hate towards her. I mean,
really?
If I brought up the news, I saw it was the year anniversary or whatever, how jokingly she wrote, she's from South Africa. She was going home.
Okay.
And she had written that, head to South Africa. Hope I don't get AIDS. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. I'm white. Or, right. She wrote it, and she didn't have a lot of followers. While she was in the air, I mean, people got a hold of it, and people were calling for her head. So that woman, I said, poor woman. I mean, you probably shouldn't have wrote that in the first place.
Right.
But by the time she landed in South Africa, they were there to escort her.
Oh, I'll bet.
The company fired her. She worked for all this stuff. But I mean, she's in the air, has no clue what's happening. Just, hey,
well, that was me.
Yeah.
Now you can have your phone and all kinds of things on, but it's not then.
That's crazy how the flights. And it's crazy. We can get internet on the airlines now, can't you?
You can now.
Now, but not then. We didn't even have cell phones. I mean, well, you could get car cell phones, but they were like, the size of cinder blocks. I mean, they were huge.
I don't think we're all that far apart in age, to be honest with you, Rob. I think because some of that stuff you said, we remember. We're
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm old, but you guys are not quite that old.
Oh well, we're not too far behind. So that's everything you said. I had a beeper too, Rob.
Did you?
Yeah. So, did you ever have a beeper, Adam?
Just when I worked at Budweiser.
That's right. We did have beepers back then.
When I first started, they gave us pagers.
That's right.
And no one ever used them. We just used our cell phones.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, except Neil. He wouldn't use his cell phone because he'd be damned if he was going to give him back any money. So there's always one, right? What's up, Neil? Hope you're doing good, buddy. That's a good story. That's a tragic story. I hope that was not true.
That's tragic.
But I mean, to have your hopes up like that and then just land and be like, oh, hey, by the way, I'd have tried to spend that $5 million. That's what I'd have done.
Right? Yeah. See, I got this.
Yeah, I'll trade you for an Audi right now.
Well, I was going to say a Porsche.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. All right. 2 down, my man. So far, so good. Last one's one I really want to hear. Let's hear Spooked.
Spooked. Yeah. Now, Spooked, this is probably the shortest of the bunch, but it was pretty hilarious, actually. I'm a medic. Now we're back to 1973 or 1974, somewhere in there.
Right.
And I'm at Wilford Hall as a medic again, because they had, like I told you, they had trained us to go, but they weren't deploying anymore to NOM or anything. So everybody was just in placeholding places. And so out of basic training, I went to train my medic training, and then I came right back to Wilford Hall, which is in San Antonio, Texas. And I'm working on the, the cancer ward and oncology ward, and also partly in the emergency room. And we had what they called death cart detail, DCD. and you would pull it like 2 or 3 times a month because we had more deaths than anyone in the hospital. So whenever you were on DCD, anybody dies in the hospital, it's on you. You got to go. You got to tag the right great thumb, or left great thumb, and cover them and pack them. And bodies do really disgusting things when they die.
Of course.
So rough stuff, really rough stuff. But anyway, so I have this brand new recruit, just off the boat, so to speak.
Sure.
And he's from, I can't remember now if it was Mississippi or Arkansas, but one of those kind of southern hill kind of folks, and very much that's stereotype,
Right.
And his eyes, when he found out we were on death card detail, his eyes got about this big. And I ain't never seen no dead people before, I mean, he's just terrified.
Calm down, Bruce Willis. Let's do this.
Right. He was absolutely terrified. And of course, I've been on the job not that long, but I've already done probably 24, of these things. And so it's like, it's just another one now, But anyway, so we go in and we clean them up and we pack them and tag them and you wrap them in these sheets kind of like a mummy, so that they're all nice. But so they unfold a certain way for the corners because I have to get in there. Anyway. And you get them on these tables that roll, they're just a hard table. And then you take this thing that goes over the top, it's like a tent, and you put over the top, so when you're rolling down the way, it looks like you got a lunch cart or something, but it's actually the body in there.
Right.
And so we've got this thing, and we take it down to the morgue, which is down in the basement, and it's dark. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning. And, the lights are fair, but not great, and there's freezers. There's lines of freezer doors. You guys have probably seen them on TV and some of the shows.
Right.
And you open the freezer and it's got rollers and the tray comes out. Anyway, so we find the assigned drawer and I'm sorry, I'm having trouble. And pull it out, and when you get on either side of the body, you have to kind of roll the sheet up and you sort of lift and pull them onto the table. So anyway, so we're doing this, and as we go to lift, the guy has a nervous reaction, which I looked up and I still can't remember the name of. But sometimes you have nerve synapses that pop off after you've died. People sit up, they open their mouth, they'll raise their arm. They, different things happen.
Right.
Just deferred movement.
Right.
Anyway, so that's still correct. When we go to lift him up like that, this guy sits up, and when he sits up, air comes out of his lungs. He goes, and he sits up right towards this poor kid, who turned around, who dropped the guy. The body falls off the side of the thing. I'm holding onto the thing. Turns around, and it was about from here to there. Smacked right into the cinder wall, black wall. I mean, right face first. Bam! And literally knocked all his front teeth out.
Oh, no.
And I never saw him again, so I don't know what happened to him. But it was, and I'm standing there holding his body, falling off the thing, laughing my ass off because it was terrible. It was so funny.
That's I've heard that from actually I think Mr. Air was telling us that he'd been slapped before. I mean, sometimes they have their muscles are Dude,
they freak me out so bad.
They tell you to pin the arms and things when you're doing those things, because especially if they have once rigor mortis sets in, it's a little different because that sort of calms everything down. But when they're fresh, it's a different story.
I could be a mortician because I'd have to explain over and over how Aunt May's got a black eye. I mean, because hey, Aunt May came at me, I had to hit the bitch. You know what I'm saying? You don't moan at me, okay? You freaked me out. I had to pop her. But she got me too, so she bitch slapped me first. I don't know what to tell you.
That was self-defense.
I had to come at her ass. So.
I've always wanted to know what happened to him, though. I never saw him again at all, so I don't know if they Section 8 him. What happened to him?
Oh, your buddy.
He's probably still running.
He could be
somewhere.
Well, I mean, after I actually once I got the guy back on the tray, I actually got him into a wheelchair, took him to the emergency room. But that was the last time I ever saw him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No, that's got to be tough. I mean, at least when you're a mortician, you know what you're heading into.
Right.
You know what kind of, know, when you're just a guy, that's what you got. That's your job for the day. That's shit duty where I come from.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
That's insane. I would have been like that dude. I would have tried to check the hell out and run into something.
It'd been a fight or flight for sure, man. That's crazy. I don't know.
Definitely.
Man. I like it. It wasn't a ghost story, so I'm a little bummed out. But
sorry.
No, you're fine. That's cool. I like ghost stories. That's my thing. So, I said this over and over, but I watch the Travel Channel when I go to bed every night now because it's got all the haunted stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I dig it. And they have a haunted hospital. Have you guys watched that yet? Yeah, about people telling stories about working like basically the graveyard shifts in hospitals. And man, no, thank you, man.
Yeah,
no,
it is creepy.
Right, especially when they have to go down to the morgue at night, and these people, I believe that, man.
And why they don't have, I mean, you'd think they would have regular lights on at night in hospitals down in those kind of places, but they don't. They're running on the, power conservation or something. So, well, not quite like that, not that bad, but it's definitely not as lit up as it is during the day, which is weird.
No, I wouldn't deal with that well, man. No, it'd be crazy. But so many people die in a hospital, obviously, so it would make only sense if something was haunted.
Right.
It'd be that hospital, man. That's
just that creepy vibe.
Yeah, no thanks.
It is creepy.
All right. Well, we got 3 pretty good stories out of it.
Yeah, those were some good ones.
Short but sweet, but I like it, man.
Right.
Sorry they're not longer. I was just...
That's cool, though, man.
That kind of throws a wrench into your thing of the short story.
I always look for detail in a short story, man. So congratulations. That's good. So do you have one in mind?
I do.
Do you really?
I do.
I don't. I don't, man. I've been listening to it, and maybe a little bit of one. So maybe. So what we do now, Rob, is we rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
To see who has to try and guess first. Now, Rob,
all right.
It's come to our attention that
I'm not going to guess because I know.
Okay. That's fair. You can guess third. There's 2 different ways to rate rock, paper, scissors, we come to find out.
Okay.
There's some people that just do the boom, boom, and then show.
Right.
And then there's some people who go boom, 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 then shoot. What do you do?
Honestly, I never even thought about it, to be honest. I guess
3-pumper.
3.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a 3-pumper. He's a 4-pumper. I hate to say it, Rob, but we're in the minority there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're not, yeah. It's mostly the older people. I'm coming to find out are the 3-pumpers.
Huh.
Yeah, that's
generational.
Yeah, just boom, boom, and boom.
We were more decisive in our day.
Yeah. Well, I guess I am the youngest one at the table. So.
Yeah, we were busy as children, so we got time for that extra pump shit. Okay, it's just, but yeah, we realized that we were doing it on 2 different pumps, probably 30 episodes into it.
Probably.
So, all right, you ready?
Yep.
You know what? I haven't beat you in a while. You've been on a pretty good streak, dude.
No, I beat you once in 2022.
Really?
I have lost everything. Rock, paper, scissors, guessing the Bullhucker. I am horrible. I'm like the 72 Dolphins over here.
The reverse.
Or the reverse of the 72 Dolphins.
You're the
I'm like the
2013
Team
Lions.
Yeah,
okay. Defeated season.
Yeah.
Poor bastards. Do you watch football at all, Rob?
Oh, yeah. Some, but not enough to know anybody other than the Broncos, unfortunately. And I only watch them if they're good.
Buddy, that's all you need to know is the Broncos, man. And they are going to be good this year.
This year's is this
so.
awesome or what? I know.
Yeah,
I'm so
I
excited to
think
see
Do you
what's
hear
going
who
on.
else might come to Denver?
Who's that?
The old honey badger.
I don't know who that is.
Mathis from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh,
That
really?
badass safety.
No kidding.
Yeah. Oh, I did see something about them trying to get him or
Yeah.
talking to him or something.
Did you see the thing where he just brought a bunch of the receivers out to his private place where, what's his name?
Mahomes.
No.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Thank you. I guess he has like a NFL standard stadium right off his property.
Why wouldn't you?
I know, and he brought 4 of the receivers in from the Broncos, and they had some kind of 4-day clinic already.
Good.
It's like
Wants to win.
this is
man.
good. Yeah, he wants to win.
He's got a team around him, so that's good. You got the guy from Dallas, that Gregory.
Yeah, I was crushed because I'm a Cowboys fan. So when I saw that Gregory left, I was like, oh. And then I found out he came here, and I was like, oh.
That makes it worse.
Double. All right, Mr. Velke. Well, you got to guess first, my man. We have 3 stories. We have pork rinds, $1 million toilet paper, and spooked. Now, you said you have one in mind.
I do. And I'm going to go with $1 million toilet paper.
Okay.
And just for the simple fact of, you said it was a true story, but part of it was changed. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that one because I don't think the dollar amount on the certificate is correct. I think you bumped that up a little bit for the story. That's why I'm going with that one.
Try to big dick us, huh?
You're trying.
Okay.
Because why isn't it $5 million toilet paper instead of just $1 million toilet paper?
Because there's 5 sheets to a toilet paper. I'm trying to defend you, Rob. I'm trying.
I've never seen 5-ply toilet paper.
Yeah, okay. You know what?
funny.
I'm almost ready to pick that one too. It's weird. We don't do a lot of that same. And the reason I'm kind of aiming towards that one, although we don't know you very much, Rob. This is kind of
Right.
you're kind of a new guy to both of us. So you and I've talked a little bit. You're
Yep.
Chicken Rob and I'm Moose. That's how
Exactly.
we know each
That's
other.
right.
So,
That's right.
chicken. He wanted chicken, backyard chickens.
That's right.
Rob was
Yeah, anybody watching, please support Backyard
Yeah,
Chickens.
he's the backyard chicken guy. So that story is set apart from the other two. The other two had very similar vibes that
Right.
kind of met your personality, as I know you so far. You know what I mean. So I'm tempted to pick that one, but man, it's between that one or the pork rinds, because I mean a dude jumps out of a helicopter at that. You know what I mean? That's people survive farther falls, but you know what? As much as I hate to say this, we're gonna double up on you, Rob.
Okay.
We're gonna go $1 million toilet paper. So you want to flip that bad boy around, see what we got?
Ready?
I'm ready.
Dun, 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 dun.
Pork
Pork rinds is not right.
And I'll tell you the truth, it was
Oh.
completely true, except for one thing. That pilot blew into about 40,000 pieces when he jumped out. Yeah, he did not make it to the ground, and
So none of them, neither one of them survived.
yeah, we spent like 3 days picking up pieces.
Oh.
So.
I laughed. I should laugh. That's horrible.
But it is terrible. But and that's why my wife's don't tell those stories.
You spent 3 days picking up pork rinds, basically.
Well, yeah, and
That's,
fragments,
That's
yeah.
too bad.
Do you try? This is a horribly stupid question, but my mind goes here. Do you have to put them together?
well, that I don't. That's goes into a whole different forensic scenario. Our job was just to find as much as possible
The
and
recovery part of
yeah,
it.
to try, because I wonder if you
fight
ever-
the coyotes for the
Sure.
pieces of bone and
That's what I
have you.
mean.
Yeah.
Like to try and find all their remains. That's tough.
Yeah.
God bless those guys. That's horrible. But pork rinds is true then.
It is totally true. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
horrible. That's no,
Yeah,
pork
and-
rinds is false. No, pork
Yeah,
rinds is false.
well, it's I mean, it's a true story, but it was
Yeah.
the guy didn't survive.
Sure, but
That was-
spooked is true.
Spooked is totally true.
Hey, what was the guy's first name?
I don't know. I can't remember his name. I don't want to say it on here. He was a southern guy, and
Okay.
like I said, his eyes were bad.
We'll call him Teeth.
Yeah. I never seen no dead body before. I mean, he was beside himself.
He wasn't into it, man.
And I wrapped him almost entirely myself. I had to convince him to help me lift him up onto the
Right.
tray to start off with, and then when that happened,
Right.
which was another reason why it's so funny to me, but
That's
it wasn't
crazy.
funny to him.
And $1 million toilet paper is a true story.
It is completely true, and which sucks.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, the reason it was 5 mil was because we were going to do
Five
we were going to
different
do
cities.
Vegas the next
Right.
month, and then L.A. and entering. So we, and,
See, I remember you saying 5 different
Yeah.
locations.
and that was just we had to buy the RVs. They were going to buy all new. They were going to buy all the same. So we had they had a bunch of paperwork done, and it was going to be I think it was almost $3 million just in RVs and facilities, and the rest of it was advertising and different things.
But I mean, you have a much bigger art studio right now.
Well, no kidding.
Well, those are great
I'd be
stories.
sitting on an island somewhere.
right. But before we go, I want to hear a little bit more about how this art center became an art center in the Brush Art Center in Brush, Colorado.
Well, what we did when we came up here, my wife is a mental health therapist, so we have art here in the front. We've got the gallery. In the middle, we have the healing arts. So we will have eventually 3 therapists back there. And then there's a commercial kitchen in the back, so we'll have the culinary arts. So culinary arts, healing arts, art. So the whole idea was to have a mixed-use art center where, people could have mental health breaks all the way around,
Of course.
something where people could have fun, come do something, be creative, and also get healed if they needed it along the way. And just I've been an artist my whole life, so just something. I don't know. Am I hitting something?
Yeah, I think so. That's all right. Mental health is big nowadays.
It is.
It's a growing problem in every city. As being on the city council, it's something we talk about quite a bit. And even like like the Fort Collins Police Department, they're starting to add therapists to their staff. To go with the police officers because their thought process is. We don't train cops to deal with that. If someone is having a mental breakdown or is mentally ill, our officer is not trained to and even in small towns, we have iPads for the cops now. I guess we're looking into it. So there's a therapist there to try and figure out. Because if not, what do you do with them? You take them to the hospital or jail, and then nothing good comes.
Yeah,
of it.
that's not the answer for either.
Yeah.
Or either one of those isn't the answer for what they need. So,
Yeah, and unfortunately, when mental health, people, they want a quick cure, but if something's off in your brain, it often takes a very long, and it's like turning the Titanic, it takes a long time to come back around. It can be done, but you got to build those neural pathways in your brain and have a new way of thinking. So
that's cool, though. I mean, I'm glad we have it here in town. Thank you guys for showing. What made you decide on brush?
Well, several things. Actually, we had a farm in Simla, which, as a kid, I think I told you that before. But I've always loved the rural areas, and we were looking for something we could afford for one thing,
Sure, of course.
and didn't want to be house poor or get too far in debt for a building either.
Right.
And there's a huge need out here.
Right.
It's also for therapists. It's also quite. It's much easier. At least it's not easy, but it's much easier to get paneled with different insurances and things. Mm-hmm. And so it just all things coming together between the need and the possibility just sort of dovetailed.
We picked this corner for you to be on. If you're watching us on YouTube, there's a corner we picked of this for a specific reason, because behind you, first of all, before I get to that, you showcase a lot of artists in town.
I do. We've got almost 17 people in here now. I think we do have 17 in here, actually, between jewelry makers and
of course
potters and different things.
And how does someone? Do you want to talk about how that works? How if
Sure.
I'm an artist?
Yeah, and I always put these things out occasionally, calling all artists.
Right.
What we do is we have them bring their work in, and we look at it, and some things are not appropriate, for our scenario, but it have to be ready to hang. We work on a 70-30 split with the artist, so if anything sells, the gallery gets 30% to keep the doors open.
Sure.
And they get 70, and basically that's it. And I'm trying right now just to showcase, as I was telling you, Colorado artists and local artists preferably. And most of these folks are from just within 20 minutes of here.
Of course.
That's just nice.
I think that's such a great thing you're doing. I mean, but to get back to my original point, the reason we picked this corner is because behind us is your artwork.
Yes, yeah. This talking about my farm in Simla, or my dad's farm in Simla, the cows in the pond right there. He took that picture. It was black and white with an old Browning camera. They kind of used to look hanging near around the neck and look down there.
Right.
And he cut the cows off the dam behind him. And my mom always thought that's a terrible picture, but I always loved it because it was like, it's like, where's the cows? They're there, you just can't see them.
A Browning camera.
Yeah, and so anyway, that's my recreation of that picture, and that's other things. The Indians in the back, I worked with the Crow Indians doing some philanthropy type stuff up there, and so I got to go with a lot of their powwows and stuff, and so that's where some of those things came from.
That's very cool. The Browning camera, if you go to the Brush Museum here in the park, have you been in there yet?
I haven't actually. I need to, but I haven't.
They have a huge vintage camera collection. You would very much enjoy them. They have Brownings. They have old school stuff, man. It was kind of neat. We had Kevin Strauss running for the county clerk and recorder, and so we made a little video for Kevin, kind of describing what that job does for him. But anyway, it's the first time I've been in there since a child. Shame on you, Larry. But it was cool. It's cool to see some of Brush's heritage. I actually have a piano in there from the Molly Brown house.
Oh, really?
Her personal piano's in there. Yeah, it's really neat. So
that's a trip.
The unsinkable Molly Brown. But anyway, I love this. I love what you've done here. It's a very modern looking place, and how ironic that you try to take off the plaster, but then you end up making it like the mountains. I think that's cool, man.
Thanks.
I mean, that's.
It's a wall sculpture.
When I walked in, that was one of the first things I noticed.
Oh yeah.
There's like a ton of stuff in there with that. Just the way the contrast between the plaster and the brick and the shape, and I mean,
it's very cool.
It really catches you.
When did you get the art bug, man?
The art bug?
Yeah.
Actually, my sisters had mononucleosis. They were both older than I was.
Okay.
And I caught it, and I got it worse than everybody. And they stuck me in a room, and I don't know why, but they wanted the lights off and all kinds of things. I was a sick puppy, and I was in there.
What is mononucleosis?
They call it the kissing disease. It's some kind of weird, some sort. You're kind of
Attaboy,
sore.
Rob.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
Well, I'm like 6, or something.
Oh no. Oh,
yeah,
no.
or 7. I mean, it's just a little kid. But at any rate, it was right after that. My mom made my dad buy her a dishwasher so she could sanitize the dishes because everybody in the house ended up getting it. Very long story short, I was miserable, and that's what I did is I doodled the whole time because we didn't have TVs in our room or even I didn't even have a radio, you know.
Right.
So it was just draw or do nothing. So that's pretty much what I did.
Or go
And I realized, I mean, I didn't realize it, but later people say, oh, that's really good. This is, you know.
Yeah.
And I really didn't even realize that it was there, but
That's
just
cool.
always kind of came natural.
That's very cool, man. Very cool. You have some stuff coming up.
We do.
Tomorrow's the 27th. You actually have a paint and sip. You're doing a lot of paint and sips.
Yeah. Not this 27th, but the 27th of next month.
April.
Yes. Yeah, of
April.
April. Right.
Yeah. This drops on the 26th of April. So
Oh, well, that's right.
tomorrow.
Never mind. Yeah, it is tomorrow, but it's already sold out.
Yeah. But they can kind of keep in touch with you too, in
Yes,
case
yeah.
they're yeah.
Yeah, hashtag Brush Art Center or
Okay.
brushartcenter.com or on the web. So we got.
And when you're looking at this under the description of this podcast, whether it be on YouTube or whatever podcast you, whatever, the description will have a link
Oh, great.
to the Brush Art Center as long as the Bullhucker as well as the Bullhucker.com. And if you go to the Bullhucker.com and go into, there's a tab that says "As Seen on the Bullhucker," we'll have a link to your store or to your
perfect.
shop on there, so
Bless
you
your
can
heart.
just
Thank
check it
you.
out either way. So come check
Great.
this out. It's sold out on the 27th, but you said
It
there's
is.
a bunny one
There's
coming
a
up.
bunny one coming up, and you'll have to. I just looked and I can't remember what the date was, but
Okay.
it's sometime the third week, I believe, of April. But if you go to our Facebook page, it'll be on there. Too sweet.
Okay, that's awesome. We'll have to actually, I'm gonna have to give it a try one of these times. So
You should.
Did you
It's
want to
fun.
give pricing on it?
Yeah, it's $30, which
Okay.
you get 2 glasses of wine, beer, or non-alcoholic beverage. You get the 16 by 20 inch canvas, which is big for these kind of classes.
Right.
All your supplies, 2 hours or 2.5 hours generally of artistic encouragement and direction.
Right.
We really do try to help people and probably a little more hands-on than some places. And then you get to take it home and have a beautiful piece of
That's cool.
artwork. So nice night out for $30. It's hard to beat.
I've actually seen a few of them around town. Matt had one actually.
Yeah.
At the meeting, Loranda, the city clerk, actually has her leprechaun hanging in her
Oh, nice. I see.
office. Yeah, but she's part Irish, so I think that's why the leprechaun made the cut. So, anyway, Rob, anything else you want to
Right
talk
there.
about?
No, gentlemen, I really appreciate the opportunity to be on here. Like I told you, you're welcome anytime if you need a place to shoot. And
We might very well take you up on
please,
that.
everybody come on down.
We're jumping around. We were at the stands for a long time, as I was telling you earlier. That's might be sold. That might, we're not sure the future of the sands. It'll be a good future, we hope. I
Yes,
think that the
I
right
hope so.
people are working on it and making sure it's going to turn out okay. But when we were in there, it was like 28 degrees toward the last
Yeah.
podcast, so
It was a little chilly.
we got to figure something else out. So we've been going on location. We've been hanging out everywhere else, and it's been awesome. We got to do stuff and hang out and do stuff, see these kind of stores and see what's happening in Morgan County and beyond. So
I do have an old letter of credit I could give them.
of the $5 million, yeah. I mean, we could try it, Rob. We can try it.
There's still those at any rate. Yeah.
Did you keep it, by the way?
No, I didn't. I had to send all that back, all the articles. It was all a certified bundle that was going to the bank.
Right.
I never even actually had the package open. It was all, I had to deliver it to the loan officers as it was one of those deals.
That'd be kind of a cool keepsake.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it would be.
I mean, it sucks to happen,
Right.
but it's kind of cool to frame a $5 million bond. That's
Yeah, I saw it before it went in there, and it
Yeah.
it's weird because it's like it's a promissory note. It's
Right.
they basically are just promising to give you the
backing
money.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've
it
heard
isn't
of
like it isn't like a certificate or gold anything. It's just a couple of signatures, some verbiage, and a seal.
That's super cool, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I do want to say one thing. You said something about being in the Air Force. I want to say thank you for your service.
Oh, well, you're most welcome.
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
So, I've been sitting here staring at that Semper Fi
Simplify, yeah.
wood
That's,
flag. That's
yeah, we've got
amazing.
That's Tom Robinson. He does those flags for us, and it's worth coming in even just to see those. He does a really
Yeah.
good job.
That's very cool. It's behind I can't see it.
Yes.
It's behind the lighting. So that's very cool. Very cool. What does that piece go for?
That one is 400 and something. But
it's 450. I looked at it before we
okay.
started.
Yeah, it's
so.
all. It's there's a wave in the wood,
Right.
so it looks like the wind's blowing on the flag, and he does all that stuff by hand. And he's a disabled vet, and that's how he helps support himself, and he does a really beautiful job.
Money well spent.
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude, absolutely.
One of a kind.
Thank you for your service. That is.
bet.
Thank you for dropping other veterans on the ground too. That's
Yeah.
It'll scare you once you drop them. So anyway, thank you so much, Rob, for coming on. It's
Absolutely.
been so much fun. I'm Moose
great.
Lundstrom.
I'm Adam Vokey.
I'm Rob Gifford.
Check you next time. Peace.